Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm your host, Brandon Vincent. In U.S. news, Americans preparing for Thanksgiving travel face the highest gasoline prices in more than 6 months, with prices at the pump topping $3 per gallon in New York and on the West Coast. The average retail gasoline price was $2.89 a gallon on November the 15th, the latest weekly reporting period, up almost 3 cents from the week before, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. At the end of August, drivers were paying 21 cents less per gallon, or $2.68. Analysts blame the recent price increases on temporary shutdowns at refineries in the United States and France, as well as on weakness in the dollar in early November, which led to higher oil prices. They predict the cost of gasoline will stop rising or will fall by the end of the year, but they fear the relatively high prices could dampen the already sluggish pace of economic recovery, as consumers sacrifice a bigger portion of their paychecks to fuel up at the pump. In financial news, Ireland finally sought tens of billions of dollars in bailout money from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund after weeks of bickering that has exposed the limits of Europe's attempt to restore financial markets' confidence in the stability of its single currency. The deal between Ireland and the EU took shape Sunday as EU finance ministers backed Ireland's request for a 3-year package of loans totaling roughly $110 billion, according to the people familiar with the matter. The size of the package could change as talks with Ireland are still at an early stage. The Irish rescue marks the latest escalation in Europe's effort to keep its 16-member common currency from unraveling. The crisis began late last year after Greece acknowledged that its budget deficit figures were inaccurate, triggering rating downgrades and raising concerns about the creditworthiness of other European countries. In international news, even as developed countries close or limit the construction of coal-fired power plants out of concern over pollution and climate warming emissions, coal has found a rapidly expanding market elsewhere, Asia, particularly China. At ports in Canada, Australia, Indonesia, Colombia, and South Africa, ships are lining up to load coal for furnaces in China, which has evolved virtually overnight from a coal exporter to one of the world's leading purchasers. The United States now ships coal to China via Canada, but coal companies are scouting for new loading ports in Washington state. New mines are being planned for the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. Indeed, some of the world's more environmentally progressive regions are at the epicenter of the new coal export trade, creating political tensions between business and environment goals.
These are the most powerful songs of all time. Time Life presents Classical Power on 5 CDs for just $29.99. But wait, order in the next 10 minutes with your credit card, and we'll cut the price to just $14.99. That's right, you get 5 CDs for just $14.99. Then preview other beautiful classical CDs, satisfaction guaranteed. This collection is not sold in stores, so call now and get Time Life's Classical Power on 5 CDs for just $14.99.
Call 1-800-731-0511 to order Classical Power for $14.99 plus shipping when you call in the next 10 minutes with your credit card or order online at timelife.com/power.
In entertainment news, as it nears its finale, Harry Potter has cast a spell over the box office. The 7th installment in the 8-film franchise, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, took in a franchise record of $125.1 million at domestic theaters this weekend, according to Warner Brothers, the Time Warner Incorporated-owned movie studio behind the films. That's the 6th biggest debut for any film, following a list headed by 2008's The Dark Knight, which took in $158 million. Warner Brothers executives credit an audience that has grown up on Harry Potter with the success of the decade-long series. The key to the franchise is 18 to 34-year-olds and their aging process, says Dan Feldman, president of the domestic distribution for Warner Brothers. When we first started Harry Potter and cast 10-year-old Danielle Radcliffe in the title role, parents drove their 10-year-olds to see the movies. Today, those same kids are now driving themselves to the midnight shows. In today's tech news, Facebook's modern messaging system may make it convenient to seamlessly move between Facebook Instant Messaging and Facebook.com email accounts, but not if you're sharing a link to file sharing sites. Facebook began blocking BitTorrent link sharing on Facebook walls and news feeds last spring, and also started blocking private messages between users that included links to torrents on the Pirate Bay. Facebook says that the content censorship policies aren't changing, even as its new Facebook Messages service gives user email accounts and encourages them to communicate even more through Facebook accounts. In today's Green News, chances are you haven't heard of Makib Haider yet, but he's on a mission to inspire the world. On Monday, the disabled 47-year-old from the UAE is set to embark on a record-breaking 200-mile voyage across the desert in a solar-powered wheelchair he designed himself. With this journey, I hope to raise awareness of disability and sustainability, as well as what we can achieve as individuals if we have the courage and determination to try, he says. For Haider, who has been confined to a wheelchair since he was diagnosed with polio at the age of 4, this scheduled 11-day journey is aimed at touting the wonders of technological innovation and the unrelenting determination of the human spirit, particularly for those who face mobility challenges similar to his own. Along the 200-mile trip across all 7 Emirates, Haider plans to stop at schools, universities, and centers to the disabled to share his inspiring message, and by the time his ambitious trek is completed on December the 2nd, he will have broken the record for distance traveled in a solar-powered wheelchair, a record he set himself just 2 weeks ago.